Give them no reason to stare. No slipping up if you slip away. So I got nothing to share. No, I got nothing to say. Step out of the sun if you keep getting burned. Step out of the sun because you've learned, On the outside, always looking in, will I ever be more than I've always been? 'Cause I'm tapping on the glass, waving through a window. I try to speak, but nobody can hear, so I wait around for an answer to appear while I'm watching people pass, waving through a window. Can anybody see? Is anybody waving back at me? We start with stars in our eyes. We start believing that we belong, but every sun doesn't rise, and no one tells you where you went wrong. Step out of the sun if you keep getting burned. Step out of the sun because you learn. On the outside, always looking in, will I ever be more than I've always been? 'Cause I'm tapping on the glass, waving through a window. I try to speak, but nobody can hear, so I wait around for an answer to appear while I'm watching people pass, waving through a window. Can anybody see? Is anybody waving back at me?
That's church. Wow, thank you, Michael Saucier, Abraham Cervantes, and Severin Benin for bringing that to us. Chloe adapted a little bit the words to that song and selected that song for us to hear today. So, it was who? Chelsea. That was beautiful. Anyway, welcome to Pacific Unitarian Church on this beautiful day, up on this hill in this land where the Tongva people used to walk. We acknowledge them and all others that we have yet to find out about. We welcome you here to this inclusive community that works every day to be a little bit better today than we were yesterday, and that I have no doubt will have the same goal tomorrow. This is a welcoming community, and we are so glad you are all here. If this is the first time you're visiting us, we have a lovely brunch, and it's on the house. Just the first time, though. No, I'm kidding. We also have religious education for your children. We have people to watch your children before services if you'd like to drop them off. And now I'm going to ask everybody to please take a moment and silence your phones. Come into this space while I read you some exciting announcements. If you got the email, you saw that there's going to be a potluck in September. If somebody remembers the date, feel free to shout it out. It's one of the Sundays. Andy Kisner is 17th. On the 17th, Sunday the 17th here. So instead of them serving us, we're going to have a potluck. Andy Kisner is arranging it. And he's coming up to tell you about it all himself. So I will say no more. The other announcements are Barbara Marriott has been collecting bottle caps, and I guess we've all done a wonderful job of supplying those. She was able to take the first batch over to turn them into benches. She also is reminding us different ways that we can take care of our earth a little bit better, like thinking about not using plastic bottles when we're purchasing our detergents, things like that, and is looking for suggestions from anybody else who has ways to go ahead and take care of Mother Earth. Volunteers. If you are thinking about volunteering, don't wait. We'd love to have you volunteer. There's so much to do around here, and it's so much fun when there's more of us and we get to know each other. It also comes with a set of responsibilities, so please be certain that if you are on campus and you are not sure if you're the last one here, you need to make sure that you've taken responsibility to make sure that all doors are closed and locked. Earlier this week, that didn't happen, and we escaped that without anything bad happening, but we don't want to repeat that. So caution, please. And we have an ordination coming up. How lovely that we get the honor to know Chloe Briede. And not only do we get to experience what she has to share, her generous riches, while she is our interim minister, but we get the honor of hosting her ordination. A special day indeed, where her family, her friends, those close to her, and the congregation that we have created, that she has nurtured, will get to celebrate with her on the 16th at 3 p.m. so that there's ample room, food, and whatever else is going to happen. Please do RSVP if you're intending to attend. And Andy, you want to come tell us more about this potluck?
Wow, I'd like to thank the congregation today, as well as Reverend Chloe and Tracy Blender here, for the opportunity to come and speak today about our food ministry program. Did you know that our PUC food ministry program is now going on over 10 years? Wow. Yeah, this is an amazing program, yes. What started in 2011 as leftovers from Saturday weddings, that's how it started, has now become this home-style, high-quality meal that we serve every single Sunday. And you know what? It's probably one of the longest-running programs we have going on here at PUC. Personally, I look at it as a type of social justice. We are developing community, we are meeting with people, and we are doing something together. Our goal originally was to create, and still is, a third place where we foster community and develop relationships within our congregation by sharing a common meal together. Now, it comes from a book called A Great Good Place. Anybody read this? Okay. It's about the resurgence of the coffee shop and how the coffee shop became a place, a third place, not home, not work, but a place that allows you to come and relax and unwind a bit, a sanctuary within the city, and we work hard to create that here at PUC. The success of the program over the last decade has allowed us to grow it, to gather and give all sorts of other benefits to the church. Do you know that little $5 donation that you so generously give each week? And if you're a guest, it's always free. Not just the first time, but always free. We want you to be here in community with us. Donate those donations every week. Over the years, they've bought the pots and pans, the bowls, the small and large plates, the knives, the forks, the spoons, a whole variety of kitchen utensils, a commercial stove, a washer and dryer, a refrigerator, a storage unit, and most recently, we got a new double oven over the summer that we installed. All of this, thank you very much for those $5 donations, comes back to the church in so many different ways. You know, now that we're moving into our next 10 years, we're now asking for your help. We're looking for some additional people to help in the kitchen as chefs. To start out, we'll be having a potluck, like Tracy talked about, on September 17th, the day after Chloe gets ordained. If you're interested in making a dish, please come and see me on the patio after service. I got a sheet here. I can sign up. I got a couple people who emailed me already for what they want to bring. You know, for thousands of years, sharing a meal has been a fundamental component of our physical and emotional well-being. To share a meal is to share a lifetime with someone. Come, share a lifetime with someone today. Thank you very much.
Yeah. That was much better than what I was going to say. So why don't we take a few minutes to greet your neighbor and say hello. And it is time to settle down. I got it. Oh. See, I was going to try an old trick when I used to work in preschools and kindergartens. The way to settle the room down was to speak so quietly that all the children would stop to listen to me. You guys are far more ornery. So Chloe assisted with something that was supposed to be a meditational bell. How did that go? We are going to light our chalice now. This is the start of our worship portion of our service, the start where we settle into our souls, where we plant our feet on the ground, where we know that every other Unitarian Universalist church, fellowship, society, whatever they choose to call themselves, begins this time taking a deep breath in, lighting that fire, and beginning our unity of thought and commonalities of faith.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Chloe Briede, and I'm the interim minister here at Pacific Unitarian Church, and it's good to be with you all. I'm happy today because we have Severin back, and it feels like we're full of music, which is awesome. So thank you. Our opening words this morning come from the Reverend Teresa Soto, and they're called "The Life Slow and Precious." It is a truth, though it may not feel like one, that you are worth more than the things you do. that your being a worthy human being lives in a different domain than all of your failures, and also the collected sum of your successes. Combining your worth with your results is something like using the sheet music for Beethoven's Fifth Symphony to make an apple pie or build a doghouse. There's no way for the question to resolve in a final answer. By virtue of being alive, you matter. You cannot be more deserving of dignity, of respect, of love. Sometimes people make mistakes, but even that cannot change that you are meant to be festooned with celebration of your humanity. If your progress is slow, your movement small, remember that you don't have to compete for compassion. You don't have to compare what you can observe of another's life to make sure you measure up. You are definitely yourself. What is slow is also valuable. Some of the oldest seeds ever sprouted are narrow-leaf campions that grew even though the seeds were 32,000 years old. Can you believe that? 32,000 years old. They had to survive to be able to bloom, encased in ice, thawed and brought to life. The most important thing is that you make it. No matter how small your movements, how long it takes to reach the best version of who you are meant to be. You are irreplaceable. You are meant to live. Our opening hymn this morning is number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, yet again come.
That was lovely. We just got a little choir action going on in there. Thank you so much. We welcome Melissa Garcia to bring us our story for all ages. Come, children, all the children. Why don't you? Sorry about it. Come on up.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Melissa Garcia. I'm reading the children's story today. It's called Included.
Like a hand?
Sure. Do you guys still want me to open the book for you? Or?
Yes.
That sounds good. It is a very wordy story, so I will be skipping and summarizing and all kinds of good stuff. That's fine. Everyone everywhere wants to be included. Everyone everywhere wants to belong. Our world is made up of all kinds of people. Some people have brown hair, and some people have red hair. Some people have light skin, and some people have dark skin. Some people are shorter, and some people are taller. Some people's bodies look and work differently, and people's brains work differently too. Everyone is different, and that's okay. What's important is that everyone feels included. Being included makes us feel loved, and it makes us feel safe. Oh yeah, let's skip that one. This is Sam. Sam has cerebral palsy. This means his brain developed in a different way when he was in his mother's uterus. So as Sam grew older, his arm and leg muscles didn't get as strong as they could have. Living with cerebral palsy doesn't mean that Sam can't play with other kids, but maybe the rules of the game have to change a little, but that's okay. And maybe the other kids need to take a bit of time so everyone knows the best way to include Sam in the game. And that's okay too. Including Sam in any game is as simple as asking him if he'd like to play. And Sam is funny and creative and silly. He makes people laugh, and he makes everyone feel included. And this is Rishi. Rishi is autistic. This means that sometimes she sees and understands the world in a different way. It means that Rishi looks away when you ask her a question, or she might do things over and over and over again. Sometimes a smell or a food might really upset her or really interest her. Each autistic person has their own way of seeing and understanding the world, just like you. Rishi loves to paint. She particularly likes red, green, and yellow, and she knows everything about dinosaurs and volcanoes. And her favorite thing to do is sit by the ocean and watch the waves go in and out. Rishi doesn't always like to be touched, and that's okay. She can choose when she allows a person to come inside her personal body boundary for a hug or a handshake, just like you. We all need to ask each other for consent before coming inside into another person's body boundaries. How about a high five? Sure. Okay. Sometimes Rishi loves to play with other kids, and she loves to be included, but sometimes she might choose not to join in, and that's okay. We all need to respect each other's choices. And even though she doesn't want to play, it's still important to ask her so that she knows that she's included. This is Jay. Jay is deaf. This means he can't hear sounds around him like TV or when his dog Patty is barking. As a baby, Jay couldn't hear his parents' voices, but he learned to watch their lips as they spoke to him. Reading lips helps him to work out what they were saying. And now he speaks sign language. There we go. This is Audrey. Audrey has Down syndrome. This means she has one more chromosome than other people. Chromosomes are the genes that make up our body and make us who we are. Sometimes it takes Audrey longer to learn things like counting to 100 or learning her ABCs. And sometimes it takes longer for her to understand the rules of a game or how to play jump rope. But that's okay, because Audrey's friends are always there to help her when she needs help. Everyone loves how happy Audrey is. Her teacher says, when Audrey walks in the room, the world seems a little brighter. She loves to dance. She loves to twirl and spin and spin. Her joyful dancing encourages others to dance too. Good. This is Ty. Ty has attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. As we all know it as ADHD. A lot of us here have that. This means Ty has a super duper duper busy brain and the body that loves to move quickly and often. Sometimes in the classroom, it's hard for Ty to sit still and listen to the teacher, and Ty might need to get up and move about. They might need to play with a fidget toy or make some noise. I'm sorry, did I use their wrong pronoun earlier? Sorry, Ty. Ty might find it really hard to focus on a task the teacher has given to everyone. Ty's brain and body are just very active. The kids in Ty's class help Ty to feel included by understanding how it is for Ty. Understanding like this is called empathy. Sometimes Ty just needs people to show them some empathy. And this is Zara. Zara has a limb difference. She was born without any legs below her knees, but you can't tell by the picture. Zara has prosthetic legs and carbon filter blades. What did I say? Oh, fiber blades, not filter blades. Her prosthetic legs make it possible for Zara to walk, and her blades make it possible for her to run really fast. At school, Zara loves basketball and football. Everyone wants Zara on their team. She always tries her best and is a great team player. Being different is okay. We are all different in our own special way. But guess what? People are also the same. Kids with disability are just like you. They have things they were good at and things they are working on. And just like you, they have hopes and dreams. They want to feel safe, loved, and respected, and they want to feel included. Because everyone, everywhere, wants to be included, and everyone, everywhere, wants to belong.
What a nice surprise. Is your mom here? And now's the time to share what's on our hearts or on our minds, sorrows, joys, celebrations, or if you would simply just like to light a candle and can't find the words, we welcome you to come up.
for all the joys and sorrows we carry in our hearts but remain unspoken. And if you would join me in the spirit of prayer with this prayer from the Dr. Kate Bowler. Blessed are you who feels things big. You might feel embarrassment because of how overwhelming things can be. Blessed are you who need reminders that those emotions are not bad or good. They are just information. You may feel angry because it is unjust. You may feel sad because this is awful. You feel tired because this is exhausting. Beloveds, your emotions are not wrong or bad or lying to you or telling the full truth. They are giving you a bit of data you shouldn't ignore. We love and lose and fall and get back up and fail again and try again. Your humanity is not an affront. We reminded ourselves about this in who we are, how we're made, to feel the pain, the grief, the stress, the risk, the fear, and the heartbreak. So you are a beautiful creature. Here is your permission slip to feel it all, to feel the joy and delight and excitement, the sorrow, the fear, and the despair, all the yellows, the pinks, and the violets, and the grays, because you are the whole darn sky. You are the whole darn sky, beloveds. That's our prayer today. And let us take a deep breath in together, breathing in and out. And again, breathing in and out. And we're going to take a moment of silence. Amen.
Thank you, that was beautiful. Where are we here? I am going to introduce Chelsea. Is that what I'm doing? The offertory. Wait a minute. Thank you. That's unusual, isn't it? Now is the time we get to support our community with donations. As they come around with the basket, please give as you are able.
Someone to hold you too close, someone to hurt you too deep, someone to sit in your chair, to ruin your sleep, to make you aware of being alive, being alive. Someone to need you too much, someone to know you too well, someone to pull you up short, to put you through hell, and give you support for being alive, being alive. Someone you have to let in, someone whose feelings you spare, someone who, like it or not, will want you to share a little, a lot, is being alive, being alive. Someone to crowd you with love, someone to force you to care, someone to make you come through, who'll always be there, as frightened as you of being alive, being alive. Somebody hold me too close, somebody hurt me too deep, somebody sit in my chair and ruin my sleep and make me aware of being alive, being alive. Somebody need me too much, somebody know me too well, somebody pull me up short and put me through hell and give me support for being alive, make me alive, make me alive, make me confused, mock me with praise, let me be used very much. Somebody crowd me with love. Somebody force me to care. Somebody let me come through. I'll always be there, as frightened as you of being alive. Being alive. Being alive. Being alive.
I mean, it's always good, but today's kind of over the top, isn't it? Is it just me? Man. Our affirmation of gratitude, if you will join me. Let us be grateful when we are able to give, for many do not have that privilege. Let us be grateful for all those who share their gifts, for we are enriched by their giving. And let us also be grateful for our needs, so that we may experience the generosity of others. And now we will have our centering hymn, The River.
We're going to start with the chorus so that you can kind of hear how the chorus goes and maybe sing along. So the chorus. And I will sail my vessel till the river runs dry, like a bird upon the wind. These waters are my sky. I'll never reach my destination if I never try. So I will sail my vessel till the river runs dry. If you know it, sing along anyways. You know, a dream is like a river, ever changing as it flows, and the dream is just a vessel that I must follow where it goes, trying to learn from what's behind you, never knowing what's in store, makes each day a constant battle just to stay between the shores. And I will sail my vessel till the river runs dry, like a bird upon the wind. These waters are my sky. I'll never reach my destination if I never try. So I will sail my vessel till the river runs dry. Too many times we stand aside, let the water slip away, to what we put off till tomorrow has now become today. So don't you sit upon the shoreline and say you're satisfied. Choose to chance the rapids and dare to dance the tide. I will sail my vessel till the river runs dry, like a bird upon the wind. These waters are my sky. I'll never reach my destination if I never try. So I will sail my vessel till the river runs dry. There's bound to be rough waters, and I know I'll take some falls. With the Spirit as my captain, I can make it through it all. Yes, I will sail my vessel till the river runs dry, like a bird upon the wind. These waters are my sky. I'll never reach my destination if I never try, so I will sail my vessel till the river runs dry. Yes, I will sail my vessel till the river runs dry.
Yep. So instead of a reading this morning, we have a short video for you all.
Video, either you think you might have ADHD, the person who sent it to you thinks you have ADHD, or you've fallen down the YouTube hole while you were supposed to be doing something else, in which case you might. For those of you who don't know, ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, which is a terrible name actually, because you don't have to be hyperactive to have it, and it's not like you don't have enough attention. Your attention just is all over the place. There are three main types of ADHD. Type 1, inattentive, which people used to call ADD. Type 2, hyperactivity, and type 3, which is what I have, and it's the most common, a combination of both. So how do these apply to real life? Tell me if any of these sound familiar. You can't sit still. You bite your nails. You get into a relationship and forget to go to class or work or eat. You click your pen on and off. Your long-term goals change at least once a month. You're not sure what your long-term goals are. You're not sure what long-term goals are. You're either being completely lazy or trying to do everything at the same time. Your sense of time is now and not now. It's usually not now. I'll take care of it later means I've already forgotten what you're talking to me about. You're watching another video at the same time as this one. Your email inbox has like 23,456 emails in it. Ooh, 57. 58. I should really do something about this. You don't have files, you have piles. You don't listen so much as daydream with a soundtrack. You have a credit card that's only for emergencies? Everything's an emergency. You're late on bills, you actually have the money to pay. Everything's exciting. I'm bored. Your closet looks like this. Your room looks like this. Your car looks like this. Chances are everyone can relate to some of these, and that kind of creates an issue for those of us who really do have ADHD, because people tend to say things like, ADHD doesn't exist, or, well, we all have ADHD sometimes. But to paraphrase Dr. Stephen Kurtz of the Child Mind Institute, that's like saying everyone taller than the ground is tall, so tall doesn't really exist. Or that since sometimes we're taller than the person next to us, we're all tall sometimes. Sure, but when you're talking about somebody who's 6'5", they're tall pretty much all the time, and they probably have a harder time finding pants. There are those of us who really can be recognized as having ADHD, and we might also need a little help finding our pants. We're talking about something that happens so often, it makes everyday life a challenge. To actually be diagnosed with ADHD, you need to have at least 5 symptoms that you've struggled with since before the age of 12 that interfere with several different aspects of your life. If a lot of this seems familiar and you think you might have ADHD, here are 5 things you need to know. 1, it's not your fault. You didn't cause it, and the things you struggle with aren't character defects. They're a result of how your brain is structured and an actual chemical imbalance in your brain. 2, it's not all bad. There are some great perks that go along with being ADHD. Those of us with ADHD tend to be creative, smart, funny, empathic, plus we can hyper-focus, and that's kind of like a superpower. 3, as far as treatment goes, medications are not your only option. While they help some people immensely, others can't or won't take them, and they find other options. I'll talk medications and other solutions in other videos. 4, it's important to get diagnosed and treated as soon as possible. While our ADHD doesn't get worse, the impact of it on our lives does. Untreated ADHD can wreck our credit, affect our grades, create serious problems in relationships, and take a toll on our self-esteem. 5, I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose you. You can't diagnose yourself, but if you're curious, I've included a questionnaire in the links below that you can take to see if you have enough symptoms that it might be a good idea to talk to your doctor. And if it turns out you do have it, good news. You're fine. Welcome to the tribe. That's it for this week. Hopefully that helps. If you have questions, leave them in the comments below or on Facebook or Twitter. And for more ADHD info, brain hacks, and humor, subscribe. Bye, brains.
That will be hard to follow. This is something that Chelsea wrote, and she wanted me to read it because she gets emotional. So this is about Chelsea, okay? And she found this short thing in a sermon on ADHD, and she wanted to share it before I start. I like ADHD as more than just an ability to focus around squirrels or dogs or cats, anything cute. In sharing with you this crazy roundabout mess, I thought I hoped to convey to you all the love, patience, and understanding and acceptance. They are all intertwined. I want to learn to love the difficult parts of me as I value the quirks. Us, we are diverse. We share a common faith, a faith that every person is worthy of love. What we do in this world matters. We are connected to each other and to the earth. Chelsea. Before I was born, my pregnant mom was very ill. Her blood type was Rh negative and mine was Rh positive. Her body kept trying to attack me as it thought I was a foreign body. We both persevered, but I was premature and the drugs they gave her for extreme nausea caused problems with my lungs. When I was 2.5, the car I was riding in was hit by a truck on my side of the car. My skull, as per the ER doctor, was cracked just like an egg in 3 places. I was given a 30% chance of surviving. My left side was paralyzed and I was in a coma for 5 days. I never was fully recovered on that left side, but I had to relearn how to walk, speak, eat. But as you can see, I'm still here. Yay! My dad served offshore in Vietnam as a Navy corpsman and was exposed to Agent Orange, which actually changed his DNA, which then was passed on to me. Connective tissue issues, my early onset diabetes, digestive problems, high blood pressure, joint issues, among other problems, stem from that. I have severe ADHD, which makes my thoughts run a mile a minute. Many of these problems are hidden or not readily seen. This is me, Chelsea, and my journey with disabilities, both hidden and apparent. I am very open about my disabilities, but I wasn't always that way. Now I hope my story can help others, both disabled and abled. When I was a kid, they thought I had seizures in elementary school. My mom taught me how to read. I read way past my grade level, and after that, I read contextually. In 3rd grade, I was bullied about my size and for not always saying what others felt was the right thing. I was loud and full of an imagination I wanted to share. Just different. My teacher knew me and knew how to bring out the best in me. I was the most improved in reading for my whole grade level, and I got 100% on every weekly spelling test for the entire year, the only student that did. My use of words and verbal response was way above grade level. But when there were subs, however, the other students were malicious and accused me of swearing or stealing or pushing or other misdeeds, which the sub believed, and I was in trouble. I even missed the assembly where I was to get my awards because a sub wrote me up for something I didn't do. My church friends were not my friends at school. They ignored me. I felt alone in a sea where everybody knew me and knew of me. I have always been different. Both my parents were teachers, and kids were treating me different because my mom worked at my elementary and middle school. As teachers, my mom's friends were very supportive, but not all the teachers understood about hidden disabilities. The worst incident happened when my 8th grade teacher, Mr. Sisk, He was very cool and hip and inappropriate with us, like telling the boys to keep their penises in their pants. He decided he was going to fix me. He failed me on projects because of hole punching papers on the wrong side, or turning in work that was out of order, and belittling me to my classmates. He decided the class would write essays about each other. Most chose their friends, but he chose 4 of us to be written by himself. The essays were shared in class, and the students were supposed to write their opinions of the essays. His essay about me was filled with how different I was and how he couldn't understand me, highlighting all my strangeness and none of my strengths. It hurt. I was put in a position to help others that needed help, but my work suffered because I was kind. I cared enough to help, and he knew that I would help. No honors class for me, just the back row. I attempted suicide. I felt so alone and worthless, and I hurt so much. I swallowed aspirin, but I threw it all up. My mom thought I had stomach flu. I told Mr. Sisk, and he told my parents. The upshot was that I went to UCLA to test for depression and the suicide attempt, but they tested everything about me for 3 whole days. The depression was situational, caused by the incident in school. My IQ was quite high, but because of my problems, there was large discrepancy between my abilities and my schoolwork. I was considered learning disabled. And then I entered high school, where they did more testing and decided I had learning disabilities and physical disabilities, some from ADHD, and some from the car accident at 2.5. There were interventions. I got a special watch to take my pills on time. I had resource aides, but they just wanted to do the work for me. I still managed to take honors and AP classes, and then I went to Stanislaus State University, where the Disabled Student Center tested and found further hidden disabilities. I have auditory processing problems, not always understanding or getting the whole of what is said, and only one of my eyes tracks. Poor hand-eye coordination. I have impulse control problems. Not only that I reread parts of books over and over again, it's hard to finish projects. ADHD left it hard to take classes and finish them without help. But I passed every music and theater class offered, and I went to England and Italy with the city choir. I was that good. And yet, here I am. I'm a great person. I have a great voice, and I sing in the choir. I'm one of the top chefs. I love working with the kids and have great friends and a loving family. Anxiety and overeating, depression, feeling lonely, isolated, not loved, used. The things that sometimes make me annoying are the things that make me great at theater. But it's still hard for me to get to play my clarinet as fast as I can, but that's okay. Just by looking, you can't always see hidden disabilities. People may assume you are just goofy or irresponsible or unintelligent, that you are a space case or flighty, when in reality, you're working hard every moment to navigate in a normal world. That's why I cherish this church and the congregation with its diversity and dignity for every person. This is my home where I feel safe, and I want everyone else to feel the same way. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome here. Chelsea.
Thank you, Chelsea and Lisa. This was the auction service, and the sites suggested this topic, so thank you for gifting us with this. In his book, Disability and Church, the Reverend Dr. Lamar Hardwick, who also calls himself the autism pastor, tells us the story of Sarah, and it might sound similar to what Chelsea's talked about. A mother of a child with autism and a friend of Hardwick's through the disability community. Sarah had been in her church a while, he says, announcing at their prayer period or joys and concerns that her son Sam, at 26 months, had been diagnosed with autism. The reactions from the churchgoers were sadness and pity. As Sam grew up in church, transitioning from the early toddler class to the late toddler class, the 3 to 4-year-olds, he began to encounter problems. The teacher, the pastor's wife, approached Sarah saying Sam was having difficulty in class. Her complaint was that Sam wanted to sit in the corner and do puzzles rather than participate fully in the lessons. She complained that he wasn't learning anything. Sarah tried a lot of strategies. She explained that Sam was likely listening even if he wasn't a part of the group. She tried putting him back with the younger toddler class, but that didn't work. And she tried coming to class with him. He wanted to do those puzzles. Finally, she asked her family's behavioral therapist to come to church with them one Sunday. When the therapist and the teacher were talking, not thinking Sarah was around, she walked up behind them and heard the teacher apologizing to the therapist. The teacher said this, "You shouldn't have come. We can't change anything just for one child. Mom is just trying to get her way." Clearing her throat, Sarah let them know she had heard. The teacher didn't apologize and instead just bid them farewell. The therapist held Sarah as she cried tears of frustration and betrayal. Sarah and her children never returned to that church. Other hard examples of the church's relationship to people who are differently abled talk about tendencies in some charismatic and evangelical traditions to believe that disability is a reflection of sin or evilness, or those who are not healed have simply not prayed enough. I recently was listening to a podcast that describes a charismatic community in Redding, California. The church encourages its students every year to flood the streets of Redding looking for those in need of healing through prayer. Visibly disabled folks describe avoiding downtown or even public shopping spaces during this time of year when the students are let loose. Feeling disrespected repeatedly by the idea that they are sinners somehow in need of healing, or that their sometimes lifelong disability can be so simply healed by these students. Imagine being fearful of your own town, fearful to go to the grocery store. I mean, it sounds pretty hard, the situation there. And while we Unitarian Universalists don't tend to send people out into our city to heal or pray over people, there are issues of ableism and disability justice still present here in our community, in our faith. Much of our energy over the last couple of years has focused on the harms caused by racism. We've learned about microaggressions and the lived experiences of folks of color, about how to celebrate holidays appropriately rather than through appropriation, and about the good works of people of color have done in our movement, our UU movement, and in our world. And this is still important work at PUC, our work on racism. We're still doing it. Many of you know, though, that oppression takes other forms. Chelsea talked about her experiences with ADHD and with her accident, and as someone who identifies as having a disability. We learned about ADHD through the video you all watched with us today. This work, like most things, is still ongoing. What work do we have to do? There are simple things like good signage and accessible bathrooms, which we've done pretty well with. And simple things we could add, like cutouts in the chairs for wheelchairs or walkers. And there's more complex things, like the need to have a portable ramp for our stage. We are, for the most part, physically accessible here, but there are some changes we still need. There's also the harder parts, changing our frame of mind. A 2014 study found that 67% of people feel uncomfortable when talking to a disabled person. 67%. In the context of the church, Reverend Dr. Hardwick talks about the need for the church to discuss a couple of issues. Like the idea that we should be building, this is one of the things he said, that we should be building authentic community, not doing charity, including people through warmth and invitation, not because of a feeling of pity or obligation. He says we can create real community learning from the experiences of folks with disabilities, creating opportunities for disabled folks to engage with us, and inviting folks with disabilities into leadership, both lay and professional. PUC will be hiring a new minister in the coming year. As a part of this, we may need to consider welcoming a minister with a visible or invisible disability, or one that may need certain accommodations to do their jobs. How willing do you think we might be to do that? Can we welcome a spiritual leader with a disability? Perhaps PUC's new minister may have chronic migraines, needing to occasionally reschedule meetings because of a hard day. Or perhaps they use a wheelchair or a walker. We'd need to get a ramp for our stage, and maybe be okay with the fact that they can't visit all of our members' homes, especially ones that aren't accessible. The possibilities of who we might get are endless, and I hope we'll be prepared to welcome them regardless of their needs, knowing that they're the best fit for us. Reverend Dr. Hardwick also says we should be talking about how disability does not diminish value. This is a strong one for me as a UU. The idea that someone's value comes from their humanity, not necessarily their productivity or their abilities, but just the fact that they are human like me and you. If we take a theistic bend on this, it's the idea that they're the image of God or a part of the greater spirit. The disability scholar Dr. Amy Kenny talks about this using the metaphor of God's banquet, making reference to the parable in Luke that shows there's room for everyone. Kenny says, "My hope is that one day the slippery sloper, the prayful perpetrator, and the disability doubter can dine together at a banquet that centers the poor, the crippled, the blind, and the lame. That we limp, stim, roll, sign, and stroll to the accessible table set before us in that banquet." She says, when it comes to disabilities, churches have been too focused on causes and cures and not enough on community. Let's stop worrying about why I'm disabled or how to make me not disabled, but instead let's focus on learning my gifts as a disabled woman. Learning her gifts. Learning the gifts she brings as a fellow human being, as a disabled fellow human being. Can you look for the common gifts of humanity, beloveds? Can you look for the common humanity in all of us? The gifts we all bring to the banquet made richer by our differences. I hope we can do that. Our first principle is respect for the inherent worth and dignity of every person. And our seventh reminds us to respect the interdependent web of which we all are a part. Let us continue to lift up the common humanity of everyone in our community and in our world, preaching the idea that that disability does not diminish value, but instead has many gifts and love to share, simply by being human. May it be so. Amen. And our closing hymn today is 1054, Let This Be a House of Peace. And let's rise.
Let this be a house of peace, of nature and humanity, of sorrow and elation. Let this be our house, a haven for the healing, an open room for question and our inspiration. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of freedom, guardian of dignity and worth held deep inside us. Let this be our house, a platform for the free voice, where all our sacred differences here shall not divide us. Let this house of peace, let this be a house of peace. Let this in this house seek truth, where scientists and mystics abide in reverence here. Let this be our house, a house of our creation, where works of art and melodies consecrate the atmosphere. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of prophecy. May vision for our children be our common theme. Let this be our house of myth and lore and legend, our trove of ancient story and cradle of our tender dreams. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace.
This church is dedicated to the proposition that behind all our differences, beneath all our diversity, there is a unity that makes us one and binds us forever together, in spite of time and space and death and the space between the stars. We pause in silent witness to that unity.
May the blessing of love be upon you. May love's peace abide with you. May love's presence illuminate your hearts, now and forevermore. So be it. Amen. Shalom. Salam. Namaste and blessed be. And now our service truly begins.